Hello, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be at another biggest developers conference in this region, besides my own. So thank you for the invitation. It's amazing to see a full house here, and I'd like to welcome my guests here. I will ask you to introduce yourself in the order of sitting. So let's start with you, David. Who are you? What do you do? And what your fund does?
So thanks very much. So my name's David Clark. Originally from the UK, I now live in Estonia working with Tera Ventures. Tera Ventures is a pre-seed, seed stage fund based out of Estonia, but investing across the Nordics and Eastern Europe. And we're very much generalists, but we invest across AI, fintech, cybersecurity, and e-commerce mainly.
This was short, so Bozidar, please.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon. This is my third time on the floor today, so third time's a charm. Yeah. I'm a partner in the new VC fund, new Croatian VC fund, AYMO Ventures, which would be operational, I guess, in the first quarter of next year. I'm also an angel investor, a mentor in a number of incubators, and obviously I like the floor a lot.
Okay, and Adam?
Oh, hi. Adam, pleasure to meet you. I come from Genti Ventures. I mean, we're early stage venture capital fund out of Prague. We invest in seed and Series A from 300,000 to 3 million. We cover the Central and Southeastern European region, so maybe 12 countries. And we're sector agnostic with kind of 10 or 15 verticals we like more because we have more expertise in it, but it's usually software-based tech companies. And I can go from fintech, cybersecurity, data, and retail, etc. But you can all find it on the website.
Cool, thank you for the introduction. So the idea is to talk about hyped. What technological trends are hyped? Where are you willing to invest your money? What trends are you willing to bet on in the next, let's say, months or years? So let's dive right into the technological trend that has been overhyped in recent years. Of course, I'm talking about AI. Have we reached the peak of AI hype, or have we actually already passed the peak of AI? Maybe David, we can start with you.
Sure. Starting off with the easy ones, thanks. Thanks very much. I think it depends which part of the AI stack people are getting excited about. So, I mean, when your parents are asking you if they should be investing in NVIDIA, you know there's some hype going on there, but for good reason. They're building something very special using ASML, which, if anybody's looked at the machines that ASML used to make these 3 nanometer chips, it's effectively the closest thing we have to magic and witchcraft today. It's absolutely bonkers, the process they have. So there's hype for real reasons. We are built using alchemy to create these fantastic chips, which combined with not just the improvements in algorithms, but the kind of growth in cloud, the improvements in compute to unlock things which we could only dream of a few years ago. So I think someone was up on stage talking about the use cases they're seeing with AI today. You'd have taken a research team 5 years to do, and now you can do it in an afternoon with a few API calls. There is a lot of amazing abilities which are being unlocked today. At the same time, we're seeing a massive ramp up of valuations. You see, there's challenges in the wider market, AI startups are driving very high and demanding very high valuations in some parts of the world still. I think that's toned down a little bit. Last year, there was a lot of people throwing money at AI startups. Some of those people have already had to write off those investments, and I think investors are now being a bit more cautious, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We're being a bit more sensible, doing a bit more due diligence before we rush into those investments. But AI is real. We are seeing real-world impact, whether it's in healthcare, whether it's in other sectors. There are real-world applications today. And so, no, I'm still very bullish and excited to see where we take this technology trend in the months and years ahead.
Okay, so Bozidar, I see you are going yes with your head. So
it's a yes.
I suppose you would agree. Hype is there always for a reason. For a Bozidar question.
Yeah, I think that there's the hype there is there for a reason. So we go back to previous hype. So you've got the dot-com bubble. Everyone in 2000 was, okay, this is dead. Pets.com is over. Yeah. And then what's happened for the past 20 years? So there's going to be some big failures. There's going to be some big blow-ups, I expect, in the next 12 months, 24 months. But you're still going to have an amazing success. We've got another 20 years ahead of this to run for.
So this was a question actually for Bozidar.
Apologies. You were looking at me when you asked that, so...
Do you agree? Is hype there always for a reason?
Yes, absolutely. I can only talk from my personal experience because we haven't launched as a fund yet. But yes, I think AI is overhyped and it's going down. I always use this Gartner hype cycle where I think we see that the crypto is really down deep in the throes of disillusionment, is how they call it, and then it's slowly coming up. We've seen that crypto craze. I think AI is on the very good way to become a new crypto in terms of unexpected, in terms of expectations that are not fulfilled. It's still after, what was, I think 2 years after OpenAI released ChatGPT, we didn't see too many successful companies really, in all honesty. Yes, we've seen some tries, we've seen some with huge potential, but I think that you're right, it's a big hype right now, and I don't think they will live up to those inflated expectations.
Okay, Adam, is the mantra still valid that a startup must somehow implement AI in its project if it wants to see any money from VCs?
So, I mean, that's a good question, and I think yes and no. So
why yes and why no?
Because I think, you know, and referring to the hype, we probably have reached the peak of the hype, but hype doesn't mean the peak of the AI. I think AI is only at the beginning, and now what we have to show, what we have to see is that you actually find the right application for AI. And you can monetize the startup, you can monetize the technology, and make it kind of useful for a wide kind of audience and users. So I think AI is still to continue for X amount of years. Hype, probably not. When I was last year in TechCrunch, they already were mentioning around that we're at the peak of the hype. But what I think, and when I look at our portfolio, I would say 90% of our portfolio companies, we have over 30, they have already applied AI into their engines or systems. When I talk to corporates, to the large companies, 40% of them, they have already implemented some kind of AI. So the answer is yes, because this is what's happening. And if you want to work with data and use it for the benefit of your customers, I think you should apply AI. I'm not talking only about Gen AI, but AI in general. And if this is a criteria for us, I mean, if it's kind of yes or no, I'm saying no, we can invest in a non-AI company as well.
Okay, so Bozidar, you said you haven't seen many valid ideas with AI implemented or based on AI. So have you invested in any AI-oriented startup that have proven to be super successful? And if so, what do they do?
As a fund, obviously not, but as an angel investor, yes, I have invested into an AI startup.
And it showed to be super
they're
successful?
They're not super successful yet, but I kind of hoping that they will be.
Okay,
It's
what do they do?
Still an early phase. Well, they pivoted several times already. They started with a, general AI, and then they have pivoted towards autogen. Let's see. I have a huge trust in those guys, but it's still, again, it's still too early. It's like 3 years passed since, so.
Okay, the same question for you, David. Have you bet on any AI startup that have proven to be super successful yet?
So we've been, I think our first AI investment was, 13 years ago, long before I joined the fund. So that one, for instance, they work with some of the hyperscalers on using visual analysis to detect emotion, intent. Some really interesting projects. We've got one or two in the more recent funds. So another one is using AI to improve search for e-commerce, but rather than relying on text, they're looking at imagery. And they're getting some really exciting results versus people like Google, versus like Algolia. These massive companies, they're competing using AI with a very small team against them. So yeah, we're seeing some really interesting results coming out, and yeah, it's too early to tell, but all the indicators are, and we're very hopeful that they'll have all success.
Cool. Adam, the same question for you. Any investment in AI that have proven to be super successful?
So now the question is what super successful means to you as opposed to me. But for me, it means that,
that you earned a lot of money.
Well, So, I mean, for me, what it means that the company keeps growing and,
Yeah.
and enlarging their clients, and they generate, I mean, the growth of 100 to 200%. So what I've mentioned, what I said before is that most of our companies, they have some AI component, but I would mention one company that we invested in January, and they've grown 100% already, which is called Apify, which is a data extraction company that produces API marketplace for and channel the information to LLM models. I don't know if you understood what I meant, but this is kind of what they do. So we're super happy. They are over 1 million MRR and keep growing. So that's one.
Okay, thank you. So, Bozidar, one of the niches within tech industry that has grown very quickly in recent years, but I would say in a shadow of AI, is longevity. So the life extension technologies. I read somewhere, I have it written down here, Wall Street analyst says that next year this market will be worth as much as AI and cybersecurity markets globally. What is your stance on investing in longevity startups?
Next year we'll be billionaires, right?
Yeah, everybody will be.
Yeah, I'm pretty skeptic about that as well. We always had health tech startups, and we will always have them. But the longevity is also a tag word that can be used. One of the startups I know, they have been talking that they are health tech based on the AI. So both things. I was just missing the blockchain part.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be a big trend. It would be also maybe it would be the next hype. Now, when you mentioned it,
Okay.
and
Is it possible to be as hyped as AI?
Oh yeah,
as
absolutely.
worth as AI?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
As you said.
Okay. I didn't say it. I read it in newspaper. Wall Street analyst said it. Yeah.
Okay, who am I to discuss the Wall Street analysts?
Yeah.
But still, I would be much more in favor of cybersecurity. That's for sure. This is the real threat out there.
Okay, that's my next question. So I will ask you that. But before that, David, what do you say? What do you think about longevity?
It's an area I'm personally really interested in. But at the same time, we see that in some parts of the Western world, we're seeing declines in average life expectancy.
Okay.
So there's quite a juxtaposition. We're trying to help people live to 150 years old. At the same time, we've got people not living beyond 50 due to preventable diseases. So, and also we look at longevity. Yeah, some of them are AI-powered healthcare products. Some of them are gene editing services. Other things are looking at microbiomes. I know there's a Croatian startup. I think looking at the microbiome.
Antibiome. Yeah.
Antibiome. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a whole suite of different solutions. But I think it's very helpful in terms of, I guess, the average consumer and otherwise to bucket these up as these are longevity startups and this is a new trend.
Is it possible that success of Aura, the Finnish startup, has started this huge hype globally? You know, the Aura ring? Yeah. What do you say?
So I think that's helped in terms of showing that, like, kind of the quantified self, you can have success there. There's also Flow as well recently raised a large round, so became a unicorn, I think. So there's great examples showing that it's possible to build businesses in this industry.
Adam, would you agree with Wall Street analysts? Is it as worth as AI in 2025?
You know, for me, I perceive it a little differently in terms of comparing AI versus longevity investments. Okay. But the truth is that the problem is there. I mean, in 25 years, there will be twice as many people older than 60 years old. So there is a macroeconomic problem that is to be issued. That's probably why there is a lot of money being fueled into that space. And why I think it's a little different than AI is that longevity covers everything from research, cell therapy, gene therapy, to biotechnology companies, to something that prolongs life or makes life easier for elderly people. And so the second part, I'm kind of more familiar with, and I think this is where you can get to the investments in Calm, Flow, and similar companies, or you have tools to prolong the life, make it better or healthier, etc. This is where we would invest in. In the biotech and the cell space, we would not invest in because it's just a very different timing of the investment, and you need much more money to invest in that space than us.
Thank you. Bozidar, you mentioned cybersecurity as maybe more secure niche within industry. Are there any startups in this niche that are worth your attention and your money? or is it reserved for just big tech companies?
Oh no, there's lots of startups out there, and just recently one of the Croatian cybersecurity startups had a nice investment.
Okay.
They're from Split, coming from Split. I think it's their even. I saw the booth somewhere here.
How did you say the name was?
Splix, I think it's
Okay,
their name.
yeah.
Yeah. There are some other companies in Croatia that are dealing with cybersecurity that got acquired relatively in quiet because of cybersecurity. But it's a threat that's there all the time. Yeah, and I
And it's
think
rising exponentially.
I guess
would
it's
say.
rising, yeah, because we don't have just the kids downloading software, malicious software from the dark web. We have nation states launching attacks from towards other nation states and critical infrastructure. So yes, it's a growing worry, and whenever there's a growing worry connected with the overall defense area that we're talking about, I think the demand for cybersecurity and the inflow of money from the VC side will just go up.
Cool. So the next question, actually two questions for all of you. Let's start with David. Which top 3 niches within tech industry have the potential to be the next AI in terms of hype and attracting investing money? And which Croatian startup would you bet on?
Well, I'll answer the last part of the question
Okay.
first, which is that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because I don't know the Croatian startup scene that well. If I'm really honest, apologies, guys, but that's why I'm here, because I'd love to get to know you all more. So hopefully you can help me answer that second part of the question afterwards, after this panel.
Okay.
In terms of the
Top 3 niches.
top 3 niches, it's very hard to pick. It's like picking your favorite child. So yes, it's very hard to do. I mean, AI, like I said earlier, has got a long, long way to run. So I will apologize. That has to be one of the top 3 niches. It's not a 2-year fad. This is going to be driving and driving fundamental across many of the niches going forwards. Climate tech, however you define it, where that's battery storage, alternative sources of energy, that is going to be driving a lot of investment. Maybe not through some of the traditional. So we focus on software startups. I think Adam was saying earlier as well. So primarily investing in software startups. There's going to be a lot more investment into hardware and different types of investors, different types of funds investing into those industries. There's top 2.
Yeah.
And I'm also very excited about food tech, agri-tech. If you look
Okay.
at the impact you can have on society, the impact you can have on climate change, energy is great and transportation is great, but dollar for dollar, pound for pound, food tech, the ability to improve our supply chain and food chain, whether it's alternative proteins, whether it's reducing the CO2 intensity of agriculture, there's a massive opportunity to really drive innovation there. So I'm excited for food
Let's see
tech
how
there.
many of you are in one of those top 3 industry that David mentioned. Can you just raise your hand? Okay, not too much.
That's not looking good.
Bozidar, the same question for you. Top 3 niches, and which Croatian startup would you bet your money on?
I would bet, when it comes to the real life, I would bet on security. I would
Okay.
bet on hardware, more specifically the defense. But I think the next big thing when it comes to hype would be quantum computing.
Okay.
Because it has everything to really become a hype.
Let's just see anybody into quantum computing. One? Okay.
There you
yeah.
go. Perfect.
You got
Let's
Bozidar's
talk.
money. Okay. Second one.
Second question.
Second niche.
Second, yeah, security, hardware, defense, and quantum computing.
Okay. Security, hardware, defense, and quantum computing. We have one quantum computing. Okay. Okay. 2 hands for you and 2 hands for David. 3 niches for you. Top 3 niches. Adam.
Okay, so I would mention what we're looking at is investments in the AI infrastructure, like the picks and shovels for the AI world. So that's one thing, like infrastructure investments. Second, fintech and cybersecurity. These are 2. I mean, I see them related, but I mean, they are 2 different ones. And probably health tech will be booming not only with the longevity, but in general. I mean, there's a lot of things done in health tech, a lot of investments going into health tech.
Okay, so health tech, fintech, and what was the first one? AI infrastructure. Anybody into this? One of those three? Okay, free hands. You are the winner today. And which Croatian startup would you bet on?
So what others are doing here?
They are just enjoying good networking in Zadar and Zadar weather, you know. Let's not avoid the second question. Which Croatian startup would you bet on?
So we've been in touch with a lot of Croatian startups that have raised money.
Okay.
Not from us, but that means that we're in the right spot, and we're looking for more investments in Croatia. So I mean, we've talked to Treble and companies like this, and we have also 2 investments already in Croatia. So we're actively looking for new investments here in this
Okay,
region.
so this actually is a good intro to my next question, and I saw this question on your LinkedIn post, David. So this one will obviously go to you. Let's talk about investing cycles. Where are we now in that regard? And are we facing times when there will be more money than ever for startups, or will TAP be closing in coming months and years even more than currently?
So I've had this question asked me by a few startups I've been meeting this morning. And regardless of the cycle, great companies will always be funded. So if you are growing 5x, if you're growing 3x year on year, you're going to find investors knock on your door who want to support you. The challenge is now that bar for good companies has now massively been raised. So previously, to raise that Series A, that magic Series A around maybe €1 million in ARR would be enough. We're seeing now that the expectations are high, people looking to de-risk their investments, and now maybe they're expecting 1.5, 2 million euros before they'll invest. So the challenge to be a good company is much higher than it used to be. Good thing is we're seeing fewer bad companies. There's less kind of dumb money coming in. There's also fewer, I think, founders seeing it's the easy route. It's the easy route, I'm going to leave university and just make a quick buck and raise money. No. You have to really be passionate about what you're doing. You're going to be dedicating your life 5, 7, 10 plus years to this. So we have seen fewer founders coming out of the ecosystem, fewer founders raising, but the quality has still been there. In terms of, on the other side though, because there's been maybe fewer funding rounds announced at the early stage, it means that the VCs who have money, many of those have dry powder, they need to invest. So this cycle will not last forever. This is why it's a cycle. So we're seeing good deal flow, we're seeing good investments being made. It's just the gap between pre-seed and launching a company and doing that Series A, it's just a little bit higher than it used to be. So you do need to either reduce your burn or you need to raise that bit more money to get to higher revenue before you can raise that next round.
Cool. So Bozidar, you're the only Croatian here at the panel, so this question is obviously for you. One of the biggest problems that Croatian startups have is that they're actually from Croatia. The money is circulating around the startup ecosystem here is many times smaller than in the United States. Will it always be like that? And can it be solved in any other way than just moving your company to United States?
Well, one of the biggest problems is also for Croatian companies is self-confidence that we're lacking as startup founders. But I don't think the situation is that much different in Croatia compared with other countries in the region, in the CE. I mean, if you want to reach the scale, you will necessarily need to go either to the Southeast Asia or to the US, that's for sure. But when it comes to the money, at least we just came, referring to a previous question, we just came out of this investment winter, as we like to call it, and we had one during COVID crisis. So I think at least for Croatia, there will be more than enough money for interested and interesting startups in the next couple of years, that's for sure.
Okay. Adam, how are things today with hustling? Is there more of it than it was usually before, or is hustling still something that can attract you, or are you just...
But hustling means the founders hustling the investors?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. 2023 was kind of a changing year in this respect. Before I felt like I am hustling, like as an investor hustling. Now it's kind of more back to let's have a friendly conversation. So, but I think in general, and if you look at all the successful startups, they are hustlers. They just don't make you think for a second. They just want you, and they go for it. They have a big vision. So I have nothing against hustling.
Okay.
But what I think what we came in 2024 to much kind of equilibrium in between founders and investors, so we can have a chat. It's not like we need to close an investment in 5 minutes, but they cannot wait more longer. So I think we're in actually good times now, and it's kind of the hustling is equal on both sides. But I'm okay.
Can you recognize the level of hustling when you talk to founder in, let's say, first 15 minutes during the talk you have with him?
You know, and that's something that the founders don't realize. I just had a 3-time 10-minute session with the startups. It took them 5 minutes for an introduction. You don't have that time. Just go from the first second, just pitch it, just sell it. Because this is how we see that you can sell to your clients and then you can make it big, right?
Yeah.
So every minute of your time is selling, basically. So sell yourself, and we're trying to sell ourselves, but you need to sell your business to your clients if you want to make it big. And this is how we see one thing, that you're not wasting time, you're selling.
Yeah. Okay, David, you had a
Yeah,
remark?
I'd like to follow up on that if I can. So yeah, I think maybe it's the right mental model, maybe it's not wrong, but exactly. I kind of take your how do you hustle in terms of your fundraising as a proxy for your ability to sell. The number of founders who will send a pitch deck and then never follow up is so high. So don't kind of be pushy to the point of annoying, but like if you're not following up with me as an investor, I assume you're not following up with your customers and your leads as well. So treat it like a sales cycle, treat it like a process. You've got to do the follow-up.
Okay. Bozidar, have you ever invested your money in startup whose founders were evidently hustling?
Yeah, yes, I did. But
Why?
There's difference between hustling and hustling. Yeah, I mean, it's always a very thin line between hustling for its own sake and hustling with a good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's, I mean, if you justify your hustling with your results, with not only.
Then it's not hustling.
Well, it is. I mean, sometimes some legitimate founders can be so unbelievably annoying that it's not even hustling. It's just annoying, which obviously turns me against that specific startup. So again, it's a very thin line between being annoying and hustling and really realistically presenting your own business. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Okay, I have my last question, and this one is for all of you. I will start with Adam this time, so we just changed the order a bit. So during the COVID years, there was an exceptional demand for developers around the world, and young people preferred to get a good paying job at a company rather than starting their own company, which is, of course, very risky. So this really shortened the startup scene, not only in Croatia, but everywhere. Now that this demand has disappeared, can we expect a new wave of good startups appearing again?
I'll probably have a general answer, but every economical turmoil or crisis generates awesome startups, like the bookings and all these things. They grew up of financial crisis. So I think, and whenever you have a financial crisis that we had last year, which for the first time actually touched venture capital system with lower valuations, I think this is a moment to pause and to start new ventures. So and because of the layoffs and optimizations in the companies, the developers have a chance now to start something on their own or go to different areas. And the world is evolving so fast that I'm sure they can find the right track on it. So yes, there will be new ventures that we don't even think as of today.
Yeah. Bozidar, you agree, I suppose?
I don't think we've seen lots of layoffs after the COVID crisis in our region. On the contrary, we're still lacking good engineers and good developers, and I think
on all levels, you mean, from juniors to seniors?
I mean, somebody has to be a junior before becoming a senior.
Yeah.
I think the big guys that announced lots of layoffs after the COVID, after a couple of years after COVID crisis, they just, I think, used the chance of this overall panic and uncertainty and saw the chance to hire too much, actually, too many good people. And that's why, I mean, they hired like 30% more developers and they laid off like 10% or something like that. So still they're in plus.
Yeah.
I don't think that this region lacks developers, to be honest.
Okay. David, your opinion?
So I'm conscious of time, just keep it short and sweet. We'd love to see more developers starting more
You
businesses.
have like 4 seconds. You see.
Done.
Just go ahead.
So that was it.
Nothing to
We
add.
want to see
Okay.
more developers starting more businesses, developer-led
Cool.
businesses, building a technical moat. Kind of maybe you'll need to find a co-founder who can support you on the sales, but we'd love to see more of you out there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys. I ran out of my time. So, are there any questions from the audience?
Yes, I have a question for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Apparently, there's a startup competition that you might know something about. Do you want to share that with us now?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, my company actually has a startup competition on 3rd of October. It's called Idea Knockout. So it's 11th year now, and you're all invited to apply. It's free to apply. The winning startup will get 2 tickets to Las Vegas, hotel accommodation in Las Vegas, and exhibiting booth at CES Las Vegas in this January. So, if you're up to showing your idea, your project at the biggest stage in the world, the biggest tech stage in the world, this is your opportunity. www.ideaknockout.com. Apply, and there's a chance for you to travel to Las Vegas and to meet investors in the United States. Thank you for the question.